Hey Shark fans, it's Melinda Marsalis. Welcome to Heard It on the Shark. I'll be your show host, and Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area is your show sponsor. Heard It on the Shark is a weekly interview show that airs every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi. Then it's released as a podcast on all the major podcast platforms. You'll hear interviews with the movers and shakers in North Mississippi who are making things happen. I'll talk to entrepreneurs, leaders of business, medicine, education, and the people behind all the amazing things happening in North Mississippi. When people ask you, how did you know about that? You'll say, I heard it on the Shark. Heard It on the Shark is brought to you by the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area. We want you to get out and discover the historic, cultural, natural, scenic, and recreational treasures of the Mississippi Hills that are right in your backyard. And of course, we want you to take the Shark 102.3 FM along for the ride. Musical credit belongs to Hill Country Blues guitar legend Gary Burnside and the late great Buddy Grisham, playing Long Way Home from their album Acoustic Brothers, which was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Hey, Shark fans, it's Melinda with another episode of Heard It on the Shark. And today in Sun Bear Studio, I have with me Mr. Randle Hall, who is the election commissioner for Tippah County, and Mr. Phil Koon, who is the circuit clerk. You know, these two guys have helped us a lot over the last 2 or 3 years. They come in every time and talk to us about how elections are done. Because in Mississippi, there's an election every 6 minutes, it feels like. And no, really, there's an election every year, but it's different every time. It's state elections, it's municipal elections, it's national elections. So this time it's municipal elections. That means the mayor and board of aldermen, and then there's some different things that happen in different places. Now, I am saying this from Tippah County with my Tippah County folks who walked across the street from the courthouse. I know that our Shark fans are all over North Mississippi, so you should contact your city hall or your courthouse to find out exactly how it's going to be done in your county. But guys, thanks so much for coming over.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Melinda.
Let's start with Randle. Tell us the basics, like when is the election? And we'll talk about Tippah County. So when is the election? Where is it held? And what's up for grabs?
This election coming up, April the 1st, is the Ripley primary election. And that's going to determine who will go on the ballot for the June general election for municipalities. This election, there will only be one precinct open in the city of Ripley, and that's at the Ripley Park Gym out by the high school. And it'll be open just like normal election hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. When you go in, there's 4 different tables there, one for each ward, so you need to check and find out which ward you will be voting in. Phil can clear this up a little bit more. Moving on to the general election in June, I think it's June the 4th.
3rd or 4th, I'm not sure.
It's an election for every town here in Tippah County. Blue Mountain, Ripley, Dumas, Faulkner, and Walnut.
Well, so Phil, let's let you explain why Ripley is having a primary election with the wards and everything, and why, let's just take Blue Mountain and talk about it. Why is theirs different than Ripley's?
Because all of the candidates in Blue Mountain will be running independent. In the primary election, you've got the party nominees. You got the Republican Party and you got the Democrat Party.
And so like Blue Mountain, I noticed there's 10 people running for alderman, and it's just all thrown in there together. Mm-hmm. And so they do the top 5 vote getters?
Top 5 vote getters.
Okay. And I think maybe like Faulkner is the same way.
Same way. Dumas does not have an extra alderman running, so there's a set. They will not have to have an election at Dumas.
Dumas has exactly enough on the ballot so that they don't have to vote.
They've got 5 aldermen, and they've got a mayor and they're all unopposed.
Okay. And like Blue Mountain has 2 people running for mayor and 10 people running for alderman, and there's 5 positions and, of course, 1 mayor.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, and in this municipal election, each municipality runs their own election. Now, they call us, they get advice from us, they get the necessary paperwork that they need. We do their poll books and stuff like that for them. The city of Ripley contracts us to run their election. That's why our whole commission helps run Ripley's municipal election.
Are there other things besides mayor and board of aldermen that are on the ballot?
Walnut has that beer that's going to be on the ballot, and also alcohol.
Okay, so choices that are maybe like a tourism tax or something that just affects a town or a city, that would also be on the ballot.
They had a petition signed for both things. They had enough signatures, qualified signatures, they would have to put it on the ballot. The board can't vote it down, can't, do anything there, but it has to be put on the ballot.
If you want to see if your town has something like that they're voting on, then how do you find your ballot? How do you know it's going to be on your ballot? Because you certainly don't want to go in on the day of the election and find something on there that you don't know anything about and don't know how to vote on. How do you find your own ballot?
Call the county clerk's office.
Okay.
Circuit clerk's office.
Even though it's municipal, you can call the clerk's office.
Yes.
Can either email you a ballot or whatever.
Yes, or City Hall. Like Walnut, Blue Mountain, Faulkner, Dumas. They have city clerks. Preferably, I'd rather call them first before you call the circuit clerk's office, because like Randle said, we're handling and contracted through the city of Ripley to help them do their election.
Okay, so really your first line of defense is your city clerk.
Yes.
And they can hand you a ballot. Or
a sample ballot.
A sample ballot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
if somebody listening to us is from, say, Boonville or New Albany or Baldwin, they should call their city clerk.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you vote early on these elections?
You can.
How does that work?
You have to go to the city hall to do an absentee ballot. And it's already in process right now.
Okay, so early voting is already started. And it's like if you have a reason, that's how it works. Like you're going to be out of town or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's when you can vote early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you need a legitimate excuse.
And the last day of voting is the Saturday before the election.
The last day of early voting or absentee ballot.
Yeah, absentee ballot.
And to
it's from 8 to 12 on that Saturday.
Okay. And you come into City Hall and cast your vote.
They would do just like they would do here at the circuit clerk's office. They'd come in, present an ID. They'd fill out the necessary envelopes and the forms and the application, and then they cast their ballot. It goes into a secure ballot box there in City Hall.
It's a paper ballot, not the digital ballot. Now, in Tippah County, is ours going to be a paper ballot this time?
Ours is always going to be a paper ballot from now on until they choose to do something different, but that'll come down from the state.
Statewide, we use paper ballots now.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
And those early ballots cast, are they opened or counted or anything before Election Day?
No. They can start being processed on Election Day, but they can't be counted until after the polls close at 7 o'clock.
Well, let's talk about Election Day then. 7 to 7. And in Tippah County, where are you going to go vote? I guess all we're talking about is people who live inside the city limits of Ripley would go to
the Ripley Park Gym over by the high school.
Okay. Nobody else in the whole county votes until June. And that's probably going to be true. Like, let's just take Union County. New Albany probably votes on April 1, but the little towns outside of New Albany.
Only if they have primaries.
Okay, if they got a primary.
If they do primaries in those bigger cities like that, and especially in the county seat, if they have partisan races inside the city limits, then it'll be a primary.
Okay.
And anyone listening that's outside the county that maybe votes at Lee County and Tupelo or Boonville, City of Boonville or anything, if they've got multiple opponents, say candidates running for Ward 1, Ward 2, 3, whichever ward it may be, if they're like, just say 4 Republicans, maybe 3 Democrats running in this April 1st election in these other cities. It won't be that way in Ripley, but it could be in other cities. They'll have a runoff, and it'll be April the 22nd if, there's enough candidates and you don't win the majority of the vote, so 50 plus 1% of the vote. You have a runoff.
Okay.
So there will be a Democrat ballot and a Republican ballot for these primaries.
Tippah doesn't have
because we did not have, they're all unopposed.
Mm-hmm. Everybody listening should call their own mayor or run by and ask the city clerk to give you a ballot. That's the best thing to do. And make sure you know what to do.
You know what you're doing.
Because you want your vote to count. You want to know what to do on Election Day. Okay.
And one last thing. If you live in the city of Ripley and you haven't registered to vote, you need to register because new registration people, they have 30 days before the election that they can register.
It's too late to register for April 1, but you could be registered for June.
And we will also have an election here June 3rd in the city of Ripley. It won't be final.
Right. Yes, we should say that.
Because we have on Ward 3, we've got Mr. Jackie McKenzie, the incumbent, and he's had 2 people come out, independents, to come out to run against him in the June 3rd general election. Any of them people that ain't registered to vote, call you city clerk.
Randle, thanks for the work that you do. Y'all do such a great job and make it so organized. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having us always.
Phil, thank you so much for what you do. I enjoy having you across the street at the courthouse. It's nice.
Okay, I appreciate you too and everything that y'all do.
Okay, Shark fans, that's it for this edition of Heard It on the Shark. Get out there and vote and tune in every Tuesday at 11 a.m. to find out what's happening with our local community leaders. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for an interview, or if you want access to this interview, you can go to our website, shark1023.com, and click on the podcast tab. Keep it tuned to the Shark 1023 and have a great rest of the day.
The Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area was established by the United States Congress in 2009 and represents a distinctive cultural landscape shaped by the dynamic intersection of Appalachian and Delta cultures. This intersection has produced a powerful concentration of nationally significant cultural icons, including King of Rock and Roll Elvis Presley, First Lady of Country Music Tammy Wynette, blues legend Howlin' Wolf, civil rights icons Ida B. Wells Barnett and James Meredith, America's favorite playwright Tennessee Williams, and Nobel laureate William Faulkner. The stories of the Mississippi Hills are many and powerful, from music and literature to Native American and African American heritage to the Civil War. The Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area supports the local institutions that preserve and share Northeast Mississippi's rich heritage. Begin your discovery of the historic, cultural, natural, scenic, and recreational treasures of our region by visiting the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area online at mississipphills.org.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcast, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.